Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Whenever you're watching. My name is San Soman Nair. I am a student at University of Galway. Today, I'll be discussing about the topic whether GDP as a performance metric is relevant or just an illusion. For that, I have made a dashboard in Tableau with all the charts, which we'll go through one by one. First, we'll start with GDP per capita and how it has progressed throughout the years. We'll play one animated video in this one. Okay, so if the world is a classroom and all the students are the countries, then GDP per capita and GDP growth rate will be a metric to mark them, right? So A plus countries will be countries having much higher GDP per capita, which you are seeing now in the green colored countries here, Western countries, and all the other countries which are red and yellow are trying to progress. So we see whether GDP equals to perspective for the country, whether it gives for higher living standards for the country. First, we'll start with life expectancy. Yeah. So similarly, we'll play one animated video here. Yeah. So if you see, the country is having much higher GDP per capita, is having higher life expectancy rate, which is expected and predictable. But could you identify the highlight and star of the show? That is Cuba. If you see, Cuba is having GDP per capita of only 7,000 and life expectancy of 77, which is comparable to life expectancy of United States, but having the GDP per capita just one tenth of that one. Isn't it ironic that United States at one point put sanctions on Cuba, but still the life expectancy is similar? And North Korea, which is having an economy similar to a black hole, that is nothing, but having life expectancy much better than India, which is a developing and emerging country. So here from this chart, we learn the lesson that money can't buy everything, especially not life. Next, we'll go to pollution. So this chart depicts the pollution, that is carbon dioxide emissions, on the consumption basis and the production basis. Consumption basis is for this chart, and it will show how much the country is emitting for the lifestyles of its citizens. So it's include imports also, keep in mind. And for the below chart, it is the production based emissions. That is how much the emission is produced by the country based on the manufacturing of products and providing services. And for the first one, we have the GDP per capita. As you see, red color is United States, green is Sweden, and blue is China and India. So as you see, most the developed countries having GDP per capita much higher than India's. China is having the much higher emissions also. 20 metric tons, 17 metric tons, and 7 to 6 metric tons. So as United States is having approximately 16 to 17 metric tons per person, and Sweden comparatively having similar GDP per capita lower. It is due to none other than the policy shift towards sustainable future. But China is increasing the emissions because of its rapid growth and has been a manufacturer for the world. So GDP doesn't always provide a better, cleaner environment for its citizens and not an healthier and cleaner air to breathe. So that this metric doesn't show that one, correct GDP from this chart. Next, we'll go to unemployment rate. Here I have taken three countries, that is India, China, and Japan. India being the red color, China being the yellow, and Japan being the green. Why I have taken this is if you see GDP growth rates should directly reciprocate to the employment rate, right? So higher GDP growth means higher employment rate. That is what we logically we are thinking. But if you see from this chart, Japan, which is having the least GDP rate of less than 2% annually, is having much lower employment unemployment rate as compared to China and India. China having a double-digit growth rate should have much higher employment rate and lower unemployment rate, right? But it's still having an unemployment rate of 4 to 5% if you see. But the unique and the highlight is India, who is having good growth rate of around 7 to 8%, but having unemployment rate of similar 8% pre-COVID. So average, if you see overall view of the chart, we can see that GDP growth rate not always means better employment for its citizens and especially for the youth. So here the major thing we have to consider is the skill gap and the better quality education provided by the countries. So GDP as a whole, from these charts, we can understand that GDP alone cannot measure a country's prosperity and its progress. It is just one part, and we have to consider others also, other metrics also for that one. So yeah, so based on this one, we can consider that GDP is not an illusion. It should be a part of one metric in an holistic view and not be narrow-minded. So thank you. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation and watching. Have a good day.